I'm also going to be adding orange trans tint to it just to give a cool effect and let all the grain soak up that orange. And I think on top of that, I'm going to go with an amber. So it's going to give a cool visual effect on the back of this thing. So I added some grain filler in my mixing cup. I put about 10 drops in the orange and just stir it up really good. Make sure you've got it mixed up so there's no dark orange spots in here. And then we'll just apply it with our Bondo spreader again. Let it dry up for about half an hour or so. Sand it back a little bit. Give it another coat. Then we'll be done with it. So I grain filled twice, sanded it back twice. Not sure if you can see that orange coming through and all the grain. That's gonna look cool though. So we're done with that for now. I'm ready to do the top. I've already wet this down twice. So I raised the grain, I wiped it down, sanded it, let it dry, wiped it down again, sanded it one more time. That way when I apply my finish or my dye, it's not going to be so fuzzy and I won't have to sand it down after I've already applied my dye. This time I'm going to be using water with a trans tint. The reason I'm using water this time is because I'm covering a bigger area. And the denatured alcohol would dry way too quick and leave streaks everywhere. So with the water, you've got time to spread it and kind of fade it the way you want to, and you've got some time to play with it. So I'll be starting off just putting orange in there, and then later on, I'll gradually add some red to it. I'll start off with a pretty weak mixture, and I could just keep adding on top of it to get the darkness I want to. You're better off just doing that instead of starting off really dark. Because if you want to lighten it up, then you'd have to sand it back. So you're better off just starting off with a weak mixture and putting on multiple coats of it. There's 10 drops. That'll be good to start off with. And I'll just be applying it with an old torn up t-shirt. I also taped up the ends just in case I get any overrun. I don't want to stain up the sides because I'm doing that a different color. It's a little too weak, so I'm going to add a few more drops. Now I'm going to take a smaller cup and just add some of this mixture from the bigger cup into here, and then I'll add some red into this cup. Okay, I've dyed it up. I let it dry overnight, and you can see it kind of gets this dull looking color. Don't worry about it. As soon as you get it wet, it'll be vibrant again and come back to life, but it looks a little dull. It makes you want to put more coats on, but it's not necessary. It's good right there. As soon as I get it wet, it's going to pop again. Everything in the back has been sanded. That's ready to go. Also, just be sure to round over all of your edges and your binding around the neck. Make sure all that's rounded over so when you apply your lacquer, you don't want any sharp corners. To start with, I'm going to give it a few light coats then with the 1-to-1 ratio, probably about 3 coats. So I just got done putting about 4 coats of sealer on there now. Now I'm going to add some honey amber to the mix. Give it a little more of a rich tone. It's a little bit too orangey for me, so I just mixed up another batch. 5 drops of red, 5 drops of orange. Spray this over top, see what it looks like. So I just give it a light sand with 800 grit sandpaper. Just take all the rust spots down. Okay, I've got the color pretty much where I want it now. I may go a little bit darker, but it's pretty close. So now I'm just using my detail gun. And I mixed up a darker color in here. I'm going to shoot my burst around here. I like to use my detail gun because it shoots a nice circle pattern. I don't like to go with a wide burst, so I'm going to keep it pretty close to the edges. Detail gun works great for that. Okay, I just finished up spraying yesterday, and I didn't really have a chance to talk about what I was doing while I was spraying because I keep the camera kind of far away, and I know if I talk, the audio is going to be kind of crappy. So I just want to take the time now to explain what I was doing. First thing is, I don't use a sanding sealer, and you can, there's nothing wrong with that. I just mix up a weak ratio of lacquer, the 1-to-1 ratio, and I'll do a few light coats, and that'll seal the wood, and then I'll gradually change up the ratio as I'm going. So for the most part, everything I did, including the burst, was all done with the 1-to-1 ratio. After that, When I'm ready to do my clear, then I'll change it up a little bit, and I'll do a 2-to-1 ratio then. I'll thicken up the lacquer a little bit more, start applying some nice coats. Once it starts lying down pretty nice and flat, then I'll change it up and I'll just pour straight lacquer into the gun with just a splash of thinner. And I'll hit that, and it probably took more than 15 coats, I want to say. It takes a lot, and you're going to use probably the whole quart of lacquer. And I know it seems like a lot, but it's really not. You get a lot of overspray, a lot of it just turns into dust, and really I've got enough hair. It's still a thin layer, but it's enough to wet sand and level out and buff. It's exactly where I want it. So plan on using about a quart of lacquer. So here is the age-old question. How long does the lacquer have to cure before you can wet sand and buff it? And the answer is always different, no matter if you find it on the forum or if you look at somebody else's video. And it's such a straightforward answer, it's ridiculous. 2 to 3 days. That's all it takes. After that, have at it. I mean, some people say a week, which is fine. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. There's one guy I read in a forum that said he waits for the smell of lacquer to be gone before he wet sand. So you're telling me to wait about 2 years? No, because that's about how long it's going to take for the smell to be gone. It may still hang around after that. Anyway, the product that I'm using, it's Mohawk, which is also Balin. Same company, different label. And it will tell you right on the back, 2 to 3 days. If you want to argue about it and take it up with their chemists, go right ahead. I'm not going to, though. There's been times where I have done touch-ups and I've sanded and buffed the same day. Never had a problem with it. So I just want to let you know, you don't have to wait any longer than 2 or 3 days. That's plenty of time. Okay, look. Lacquer is solvent-based, meaning as soon as all the solvent evaporates, all you're left with is a solid matter, which is your finish. It doesn't take weeks for it to evaporate, especially putting it in such thin coats. It's almost immediate. If you were to take a little cup, pour some lacquer in there, leave it out for a day, you'll see what happens to it. All the liquid's gone, you'll have a little solid mass on the bottom of the cup. And that's a puddle. Doing it in light coats, it evaporates quick. Even right now, only being a day, I could dig my fingernail as hard as I can into the lacquer, and it's not denting, it's hard. It's already pretty much as hard as it's gonna get, so there's your answer. This one, I'm just gonna wait now, let it cure up a little bit while we move on to building the neck. As soon as the neck is done, then I'm gonna hit this. So come on and join me in part 6. We'll start taking care of this.